Oh, you can? Sorry. Oopsie. Oh, crap. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Goodness gracious. I had to move to Jolie's bedroom, so anyway, hello sunshine. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me sleepy. I know it's happy, but I'm sleepy. So sleepy. I am still in my pajamas. Look, Joanna, whenever Joanna watches, if Joanna watches. I love this nightgown. It's a nightgown. It's a big, giant sleep shirt. And I love it. Okay. I'm a wakey. I'm working on my second cup of coffee. It's in there brewing right now. Hey, Sherry and Steph and Abigail. Shut up, Siri. I'm not talking to you. Okay. So let's go see. I haven't even looked for the feed yet. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, let me see. How are you guys this morning? Ooh, okay. They are raring to go. I was packing up some orders and watching Chris's Christmas. Oh, something happened and she didn't look very happy. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to rewind and find where it starts. As soon as I find it. All right, so I found it. Now I'm going to share it. There's Joanna. Look, yeah, your shirt makes me happy. Good morning. I hope you're feeling better this morning, Joanna. Banana. Okay, present. Share screen. That. Share. Okay. We're gonna push play. I'm ready to see what's happening this morning.
Okay, not quite ready. Where's Attorney Tucker?
He just said he was texting me.
Okay.
She's like, "Where's Attorney Tucker?" Again, not available this morning, huh? Yeah. She doesn't look very happy this morning. Does she? She does not look happy. Oh, there's her lawyer. Again, not a good look this morning, Mr.
Okay, are we ready to proceed? Yes. Okay, it's my information that all the technical challenges have been worked out, but I guess we will see.
Yeah, right, Steph. A 37-page letter.
We'll see. I have his cell phone number in case something goes awry. We've been in here testing. When we republish any of the 911 calls, we're going to have to do it from our computer, but using those speakers. The overhead system just isn't loud.
Okay.
But the document camera is working, and we can display photographs.
Okay. All right. So do you intend to republish at this point, or you'll let me know at what point you will republish?
I will let you know, Judge.
Okay.
Do the medical examiner first.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm going to bring the jurors in at this time. Okay. Thank you, Bailiff Vanessa.
The jurors.
Judge, while they're coming in, can we refresh just briefly?
Certainly.
Hold on.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. You may be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Hope that your well this morning, and that you got some rest last night, and that you're prepared to hear another day of evidence. And so at this time, I'm going to ask the state to call its next witness.
The state calls Dr. Stacy Desamore.
Okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the testimony that you will provide to this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you have a seat and pull yourself up to the microphone? All right. Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
Good morning. I'm Dr. Stacy Desamore, spelled S-T-A-C-E-Y, last name D-E-S-A-M-O-U-R-S.
And what is your current occupation?
I am currently the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner at the Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office in Marietta, Georgia.
And how long have you been practicing medicine?
I have been practicing forensic pathology specifically just over 14 years.
And are you board certified?
Yes, board certified in anatomic pathology and forensic pathology.
And can you please explain to the jury your educational background from undergraduate all the way through your fellowship?
Yes, I earned a bachelor's degree in biology from UCLA, then completed a anatomic pathology residency, medical school at the Morehouse School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia, then an anatomic pathology residency training program in Davis, California, at University of California, Davis, and then completed a forensic pathology training program at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office through Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia.
And after completing your fellowship, where did you begin working?
I began my career at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI, at the headquarters laboratory in Decatur, Georgia.
Now, can you describe your job duties as a forensic pathologist?
In general, my duties are to perform autopsies to determine the cause and manner of death in cases that are reported to the medical examiner's office, then prepare a report of my findings and occasionally testify in court, as today.
Now, as a medical examiner, are you required to complete any continuing education?
Yes.
And what does that involve?
Yes, for our continuing medical education, we are required to complete 70 hours of continuing medical education units per every 2 years.
And approximately how many autopsies have you performed in your career as a medical examiner?
Over my career, about 4,000.
And have you testified in court before?
Yes.
And about approximately how many times?
Probably around 130 times, several times here in Clayton County.
Now, at this time, Your Honor, the state moves to tender this witness as an expert in the field of forensic pathology.
Okay, so she is admitted as an expert in forensic pathology.
And Dr. Desamore, what is pathology?
Pathology is a subspecialty of medicine that deals with the diagnosis of diseases.
And what is forensic pathology?
Forensic pathology is a subspecialty within pathology that deals with the investigation of sudden and unexpected deaths and also the interpretation of injuries.
And can you explain what an autopsy is?
Sure. An autopsy is basically a physical examination of a person who's died. We start by examining all of the external body surfaces, looking for any evidence of natural disease or injuries that may have caused or contributed to a person's death. And then we open the body cavities and examine all of the internal organs, looking for evidence of the same.
Now, did you perform an autopsy on the body of Kenneth Herring in connection with GBI case number 2019-1012838?
Yes.
And when did this autopsy take place?
May 8th, 2019.
And during this autopsy, did you follow the same procedures that you just described as far as external and internal examination?
Yes,
Now, did you publish a report in reference to this autopsy?
I did.
And were photos taken during this autopsy?
Yes.
Now, during your external examination of Mr. Herring's body, did you find any external evidence of injury?
I did.
And what did you find?
There was a small bruise here on the left upper chest region near the collarbone, and a gunshot wound of the abdomen.
Now, prior to you conducting your autopsy, what type of things would you have to, I guess, refer to before you begin your examination?
The investigators at the GBI investigate the death and prepare an initial report of their findings, and I would have had that to review prior to the autopsy examination.
And was there anything of significance that you found in that report?
Anything of significance? Can you be a little bit more specific?
Was there anything in that investigative report that led you to conduct any further examinations in this case?
Well, we were told that Mr. Herring sustained a gunshot wound. We were told some initial information about his medical history, and that the death was being investigated by the police.
And was there any indication regarding any, you said medical condition?
Yes, we were told that specifically that he had a medical history of hypertension and diabetes.
Now, once you heard that, or once you learned that there was a history of hypertension and diabetes, did you conduct any tests regarding diabetes and hypertension?
Yes, as a part of the autopsy examination, because he had a medical history of diabetes, I conducted a test that helps to look for any evidence of elevated blood sugar.
And did you find any elevated levels of blood sugar?
It was not elevated.
And can you explain why that may have been?
So the test, more specifically, the test can show us if his blood sugar was elevated at the time of death, but it cannot tell us if the blood sugar was low after death. When a person dies, the blood sugar continues to be metabolized very, very quickly. So even in a person whose blood sugar was normal at their time of death, that test would show low blood sugar. That's just the normal course of what we call post-mortem change. So if his blood sugar was already low, there's no way for me to differentiate if he had a low blood sugar at the time of death versus the normal post-mortem lowering of the blood sugar.
You would not have known if the EMTs or the hospital had provided him any insulin after the shooting?
No, I was not given that information.
Now, in conducting your examinations, is there any review of any toxicology reports?
In this case, yes, I submitted blood specimens for toxicology.
And what were the results?
He had a negative comprehensive blood screen.
And can you explain what this comprehensive toxicology would have entailed?
Yes, so the comprehensive blood screen at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation tests for all the major and common drugs of abuse, and there are hundreds of different additional drugs that the panel covers.
And you said everything was negative?
Yes.
And what about the blood alcohol content?
It was negative as well.
Now, going back to the external examination of Mr. Herring, you indicated that there was a bruise to, a small bruise where?
Over the left clavicle region.
Any other external evidence of injury?
Yes, a gunshot wound of the abdomen.
Now, can you describe to the jury what stippling is?
So let's go back a little bit. When a gun is fired, not only the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, but the bullet is accompanied by different gases of combustion and also burned and unburned gunpowder particles. The burned gunpowder particles are very light, like soot, like ash, and they don't fly very far from the barrel of the gun after it's fired. So if we see soot around the wound, we know that the barrel of the gun was in close proximity within, in general, we talk about general ranges, within a few inches of the body. The unburned gunpowder particles, however, are heavier, so they're able to fly a little bit further from the gun. And so when we see these little marks, these tiny little marks on the skin caused by those unburned gunpowders, that is stippling. And when we see those marks on the skin, we know that in general, the muzzle of the gun was within a few inches up to about 2 to 3 feet, depending on the ammunition and the weapon used.
And did you find any soot in this gun?
There was no soot.
Did you find stippling?
Yes, we found a very few stippled abrasions, as we call it, or stippled marks around the gunshot wound.
And just to be clear, what would that have indicated to you?
That would indicate at least there was between a few inches to 2 to 3 feet from the body.
I'm showing you what has been previously marked as States Exhibits 32, 33, 34, and 35.
May I see this, please?
Now, do you recognize those photos?
I do.
And what do you recognize those photos to be?
These are pictures taken at the time of autopsy of Mr. Herring's body.
And do they appear to be in the same? Do they appear to be the pictures that were taken by you during this autopsy?
Yes.
All right, the state moves to enter States Exhibit 32, 33, 34, and 35 into evidence. Any objection?
No objection.
Admitted without objection.
Permission to publish state exhibits. You may publish. All right, we're showing you States Exhibit 32. Okay. I'm showing you States Exhibit 32. Would this have been an ID photo of Mr. Herring once he came into the lab?
That's correct.
And that number that we see would be the GBI number that's associated with his case?
Yes.
And now I'm showing you States Exhibit 33. Okay, and it states Exhibit 33. What are we seeing here?
Just above the ruled placard that bears the decedent's assigned case number, there is a circular defect there that is a gunshot and entrance wound.
All right, and I'm going to show you states Exhibit 34. And is this the same gunshot wound, just a zoomed in version?
Yes.
Now, can you tell us what the entrance, where the bullet would have entered?
That is the entrance wound.
And the direction of the bullet?
The direction of the bullet through the body, the path through the body, the bullet traveled from the front of the body toward the back, very slight right to left deviation through the body and downward.
And was there any exit wound?
There was not.
And did you recover any projectiles from Mr. Herring's body?
Yes, so the bullet traveled through the abdomen. It struck the small intestine, the large intestine, the colon, and the left kidney. Then it came to rest just beneath the skin of the left side of the back.
Now, what type of effect would that have had on Mr. Herring's body?
It resulted in a massive loss of blood.
All right, I'm showing you what has been previously marked as States Exhibit 36. Can you identify that?
Yes, I can.
And what is it?
This is the bullet that I recovered from Mr. Herring's body at the time of autopsy.
And how are you able to tell that that is the bullet that you pulled from his body?
It, inside the evidence box is a label which bears the decedent's name and assigned case number and my initials, and then the exterior of the box is sealed with red evidence tape, also bearing my initial and the date of the examination.
Your Honor, the state would like to move States Exhibit 36 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted without objection. And now I'm going to publish States Exhibit 35. And so is this what you retrieved from Mr. Herring's body? Is this the projectile that was retrieved from Mr. Herring's body?
That's correct.
Now, did you also conduct an internal examination of Mr. Herring's body?
Yes.
And were all of his organs present?
Yes.
And did you observe any evidence of any internal injury?
Internal injuries? Yes. Along the gunshot wound path, as I mentioned before, the bullet struck the stomach, both the large intestine, the small intestine, and the left kidney.
All right, can you explain to the jury what the cause of death is generally?
The cause of death is the exact injury or the natural disease process that causes a person's death.
And what was the cause of death in Mr. Herring's case?
Gunshot wound of the abdomen.
And what is the manner of death generally?
The manner of death takes into account the circumstances around the death to explain how the death occurred. And we have basically four choices: a natural death, accidental death, suicide, and homicide.
And what was the manner of death in Mr. Herring's case?
Homicide.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you, interpreter, your witness for cross-examination.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Doctor.
Good
How you
morning.
doing today?
I'm doing okay.
My name is Matt Tucker. I'm the attorney here for Ms. Payne. And I just wanted to go over a couple of details you brought out and that you made notes of. Now you're familiar, you wrote a summary of this investigation or autopsy, correct?
I did.
Okay. And in this summary, you talked about what was notable from the body that you received, correct?
I did.
And one of the things was notable was a gunshot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then you mentioned here that there was some slight bruising on the left shoulder.
There was, yes.
Do you recall where you put that in your autopsy summary?
It is in the evidence of acute injury section, right at the very end on page 3.
Okay, and where it says external examination?
Just above that, 2 lines above that, it says other injuries.
Mhm.
A small contusion there.
So, a contusion, so was it on his left side shoulder, correct?
It was, yeah, right overlying the collarbone.
Okay, would that be where commonly a seat belt would go across the body?
Yes.
Okay. And was that bruise kind of in a square or kind of in a size that would be consistent with possibly a seat belt abrasion?
No, a seatbelt tends to make a broader mark based on the size of the seatbelt. This was a much smaller bruise.
So it's much smaller than, say, the size of a seat belt.
Absolutely, yes.
So, like a pin top or?
Just probably a little larger than a pin top.
Pin top. Okay. Now, I noticed you said that you collected some blood and then you sent it off for a drug test, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and who completed the drug test?
This would have been the GBI State Crime Lab.
Would it be Miss Cook?
The toxicologist, I don't have the toxicology report, so I'm not sure whose name is on it.
Okay. And you said that commonly they test for all the drugs that are addictive or that are commonly used in abuse?
Yes, in their comprehensive panel, they test for all the common drugs of abuse, as well as a few hundred additional drugs.
So if I may. And if I may approach, Your Honor.
Okay.
Let me show you here a summary of your autopsy. Does that appear to be a true and correct, accurate copy of what your summary, your autopsy, excuse me, summary was?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to tender what I, defense exhibit number 10.
Any objection from the state?
10 was the autopsy. So, of her report.
All right, no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, admitted without objection.
And you stated the bullet had actually come in at a close range or something close to, as close to a couple of inches and as far as possibly 2 feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you extracted the bullet, correct?
Yes.
But you examined the whole body, correct?
Yes.
So, if I may approach, Your Honor? You can look at that and tell me, is that something that you extracted from his body?
It is.
Is that the bullet fragments from the one that went into his abdomen?
They are not.
Okay, where were those bullet fragments taken from?
These are bullet fragments that were actually taken from the right upper arm of Mr. Herring. These are old bullet fragments. He had sustained a gunshot wound in the past, and these were fragments that remained in the body.
And could you tell how old they had been in the body?
I cannot.
Okay. But those weren't the bullets that we were talking about that went into the abdomen, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said that it came in at a up to downward, right to left angle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And with how many others?
You may publish.
So the way this is sitting right there, would that be a fair reflection that his body was standing like this?
I can't tell you his positioning.
All right. But that's the angle of the bullet going into the body, correct?
This picture is a bit too zoomed in. I would need a little bit more reference in the picture.
Would that help?
Yes. So this picture is actually upside down as it's displayed.
So this would be. Let me try to zoom that. All right. So this wouldn't be his belly button.
It
would
is.
This be his chest.
Right. So the
So-
way it's displayed, it's actually upside down.
But if he was standing in the position I'm standing, would that be a fair and accurate
It
representation?
is still upside down, just for reference sake.
Okay, so when you
His head would be toward the top of the screen. If it's, yes, so his head would be toward the top of the screen now, and his belly button there. The dark structure in the top left-hand corner is his nipple areola complex. So this, where this gunshot wound is positioned, is in the left side of the upper abdomen.
So it would be reflective of his body standing like this, correct?
Potentially, yes. But I cannot tell you what position he was in.
I'm talking the bullet hole as comparison to his body. His body being the chest up here, and that would be the position he would be in from that picture.
I cannot tell you what position the decedent was in. I can tell you that this gunshot wound entered the left side of the abdomen.
Okay, but that's his abdomen, and if it were to and just for reference purposes, if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
So this is a diagram of the body. And is that a fair, accurate representation of what a human body would look like?
Yes,
Okay.
in standard anatomical position, yes.
Okay, and you said that the bullet hole came from a top to bottom, right to left position, correct?
That's the direction through the body.
Okay.
He certainly could have sustained this injury while lying down and gotten that path through the body. He could have sustained this injury bending forward and sustained that same direction. So I cannot tell you what exact position he was in when he sustained the injury. I can only tell you the direction through the body.
And that's what I'm asking for, the direction through the body. You said it was a right to left, slightly sloped, and it went and hit some major organs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I may approach again, Your Honor. So could you draw how the bullet went through the body? Just so we can have an understanding.
About like, well, I can't connect these two lines because they're on opposite figures. You just want them both on the same, okay. It's a little, because I had already written entrance there, the entrance and exit are, it's hard to see where I've written the exit.
Is there a line you could draw that was going through the bottom? Okay. Oh, and I'm gonna post it so you can explain. So, is there a line that went through?
They are very close together,
And
so,
the major
and-
organs that the, I'll put it.
yes.
Okay. Is this a fair and accurate resemblance or representation of the human body?
Yes,
Is this markings that you have put on this photograph that represent where the bullet came in and finally rested?
yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I've moved to 10 Exhibit 12.
No objection, Your Honor. Okay, admitted without objection.
Ma'am.
Back published. Yes, you may.
Okay, so you stated that the bullet,
Upside down.
stated that the bullet came in on his left side of his body,
Yes,
angled at a downward
yes.
right to left.
Very slightly right to left.
So if there was a gun that shot, it would have had to been inside or close to his body. It couldn't have been from shooting it. If he was here, it couldn't have been shot this way, correct?
When you say he was here, you have to go,
If he was sitting in a car.
okay, in the driver's
The
seat.
driver's seat, as if the
Okay.
steering wheel's here.
Mhm.
The bullet could not have come from this angle.
With him sitting as normally seated in a driver's seat.
Okay, thank you. So normally sitting in the driver's seat, it could not have come from the window into the vehicle to hit him in that kind of position, normally seated, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and actually the angle going down and slightly right to left, it would appear that the gun was past that area and kind of angled back, correct?
Again, I have no opinion on the positioning of the gun because I have no information on the positioning of the decedent.
But from your expert opinion, looking at all of the angles and the way the bullet entered the body,
I have no information on the position of the decedent. That would change my opinion depending on the positioning of the decedent. So without that information, I cannot render an opinion.
but you're an expert, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, she just answered the question.
Did she answer?
She said she cannot give any opinion on the angle of the gun.
I just asked her if she was
She
an
would
expert.
be,
Attorney Tucker, finish what you're saying, ABA Hunter.
Dr. Esmore has already explained that she cannot give any opinion on the angle of the gun because she does not have the information that she needs.
I didn't ask that question. I asked her if she was an expert.
I'm going to sustain the objection. You've
May I ask
asked-
if she's an expert?
Attorney Tucker,
I'm sorry.
please, I haven't finished saying what I am saying, so please allow me.
Yes.
I'm going to sustain the objection. She was qualified as an expert previously, and so you do have that information, and the question has been asked several times and answered. So I'm going to instruct you to move on with your next question.
So she said, and just to clarify, she said that she was not given any details of the position of the gun. But she being an expert, I want to ask a question and ask about a scenario, what her findings would be.
Oh, you're going to give her a scenario?
Yes, ma'am.
I will give you some leeway.
Thank you. So, presuming in this scenario, the body is sitting in a driver's seat, normally positioned with the steering wheel in front of it. And noticing the trajectory of this bullet, from your expert opinion, would the gun have to be positioned a little farther in over where the bullet entered the body? In your expert opinion?
It could still be positioned over the body. It could still be positioned slightly left of the body. We're talking about a gunshot wound that goes essentially straight back through his body. The right to left deviation is very slight. We're talking about a 1/4 inch. So the entrance defect is 1 1/4 inch left of the midline of his abdomen, and where the bullet lodged on the back is 1 1/2 inch. So we're literally talking about the width of about a standard pencil eraser. So there's not a significant deviation there. So the gun could be either over the wound, could be to the slight the wound. If the decedent's turned any little bit in his seat, it could still be on the left side. There are just too many variables for me to give an accurate opinion on the positioning of the gun.
Yes, doctor, but in my scenario, I said to take the position of the body as being straight.
Even taking the position being straight, it can be to the left. It can, the muzzle of the gun is long. People's arms are long. You can still have that same path through the body.
And I appreciate you saying that. But there was, as you said, a very slight right to left.
That's correct.
And based on the size of the entrance, how close was the gun to it? You said could have been 1 inch to 2 feet.
No, I said a few inches up to 2 to 3 feet, depending on the weapon used, the ammunition used. To find the exact range of fire requires, test firing the exact same weapon with the exact same ammunition in very controlled conditions. So we cannot give an exact range of fire, but the presence of stipple abrasions lets us know it is a few inches up to roughly 2 to 3 feet from the body.
And because of those particles that you mentioned that were on the body, the burns close to the bullet entrance, it would appear that gunpowder had hit the chest area, correct?
Around not the chest, the abdomen. Around the gunshot wound.
Okay, and gunpowder generally comes out the barrel of the gun.
Yes.
And from that, you still can only get a range a few inches to a couple of feet, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now you were told that he had diabetes, and you were told he had some other symptoms, correct?
I was told he has a medical history of hypertension and diabetes.
Did you ever see any medical records?
In this case, no.
Okay. So you took what was told to you and did your evaluation with that kind of in the back of your mind as you're going through it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't find any signs that would show that there was any kind of diabetic coma shock or anything, because as you explained, the body would have burned the sugar in the body at the rigor mortis or...
Right. There was no evidence of hyperglycemia, which we can see at autopsy, so we know that his blood sugar wasn't high, but there's no way for me to determine whether his blood sugar is low.
So this was kind of inconclusive to you. It wasn't a relative factor when you were looking into the body and doing your autopsy.
Yes, the cause of death in this case is a gunshot wound of the abdomen.
And were you given information about how long it took for him to get to the hospital, or how long he was at the hospital?
I was told that he arrived at the ER at Southern Regional Medical Center at 6:38 p.m. and he was pronounced deceased at 6:46 p.m.
Okay. And were you given the time of the incident?
Approximately, or our investigator was initially told that the accident occurred at 6:15 p.m.
Okay, so roughly 15 minutes to get to the hospital? From what you were told?
Yes, that was the initial information given to the investigators, and sometimes, you know, details can be off in the initial investigation, but that was what we were told initially.
From your autopsy, did you find it was off? That time would have been off based on?
No, we are not determining time of death.
Okay. Now, the drug screen, if I may approach, Your Honor.
You may.
If I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
What I have here is exhibit number 13 that I would ask to use to refresh your memory. And what exact drugs was he tested for?
Well, what I'm reviewing is what appears to be a toxicology report from the GBI, and he had a comprehensive drug screen.
Okay, but there are a few listed out specific drugs they tested for, correct?
Yes, some are specifically listed. The common drugs of abuse are listed out, but the drug confirmation results specifically list a negative comprehensive drug screen.
And could you read off those drugs that they were tested for, and kind of give an example of what on the street those would be called?
Barbiturates, which would be drugs like phenobarbital, cannabinoids or marijuana, certain benzodiazepines, which class of sedative type drugs like Xanax, cocaine and cocaine metabolites, and certain opioids like oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl, that sort of thing.
And those are the only drugs that were tested for? That
No,
were
he had a
specifically...
comprehensive drug screen. This toxicologist just chose to list these specifically out.
And that's what I was going to ask, ma'am. So those were specifically put out there to show those were tested for and those were negative, even though it was a comprehensive. Those were singled out, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and on the street, there's other common addictive drugs besides those you've mentioned, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what might those be?
You could have drugs like LSD, PCP, those type of drugs.
Would meth be one of those drugs?
Methamphetamine, yes, could
Okay.
be.
But methamphetamine was not specifically pulled out to identify
No.
as in that report?
No, but I happen to know from working at the GBI for 10 and a half years that methamphetamine is included in the comprehensive drug screen.
But it was not singled out in this
It
drug
was.
test?
It was not, yes.
Thank And other than a slight pin top bruise to the left shoulder, there were no other bruises that you noticed on the body, correct?
That's correct.
Not any in the face,
No,
not any in the chest,
no,
not any in the arms.
no,
No other bruises or kind of marks or cuts.
no.
And that would be reflected that obviously there'd been no injuries or any kind of force, blunt force to that area, correct?
No, that's not correct.
But
You can still suffer blunt impact injury and it not leave a bruise.
But on this body that you did the autopsy, you saw no bruises, you saw no signs of any kind of bruising in the face and the chest area, correct?
That's correct.
I mean, I think check.
No additional questions.
You're not, I'm not finished, so. And just one more
Sure.
question, sorry. Now, given the scenario I gave to you, with his body being sitting straight forward, with the steering wheel being in front of him, the entrance of the bullet could not have come from a gun outside of the window, correct?
No, not likely.
No further questions.
Any redirect on the state?
No, yeah, I just want to say okay. You're excused, Doctor. Thank you. The state may call its next witness.
Cameron Williams.
And you're not, we met Brett.
There's a huge difference, I mean, between like a diabetic coma and just like a super high, jump or drop in blood sugar. you know? I don't know if they call it like diabetic shock or I don't know. Like my sister-in-law, she was an extreme diabetic and she would, not like she would have these episodes where her sugar would either really, really drop or really, really jump. And if she were driving a vehicle, she would be in big trouble, when those episodes would happen. So, like, she would lose consciousness and stuff. But, um, yeah, I don't know. And that guy right there with the bald head, he's a really good looking guy. I don't know who he is, but he's cute. Yeah, on the EpiPen thing, I don't know if maybe he just meant like one of those diabetic pens that like gives you like a really fast dose of insulin or whatever. So
If you would please for me stand back up and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give before the court in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can take your hand down.
I'm just going to ask that you project into that mic so everyone can hear you.
I think it's too
Or
high.
can hear you.
I'm gonna go short.
See if that works better without the feedback. Okay, if you would please state and spell your name for us.
Cameron Williams, Cameron Williams, Williams.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm self-employed.
And you, what do you do?
I own a truck company. I drive a semi.
And did you drive your semi back to Georgia in order to be present for trial today?
Yes.
Where did you live back in May, not the address, but in general, where did you live back in May of 2019?
Crossroad Point South Middle School neighborhood called Bradford Park.
And on May the 7th of 2019, did you happen to be in the area of Forest Parkway, Riverdale Road, near the interstates and all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you in that area?
At the time, I was attending a real estate seminar that I was actually running late to.
What time were you supposed to be at the real estate seminar?
I believe sometime around 5 and 5:30.
And do you remember the day that we're talking about, the May the 7th of 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Where was that seminar that you're trying to get to?
Virginia Avenue.
In Atlanta?
On the other side of the airport, yes, ma'am.
And so can you...
It may be at East Point, Judge, though.
And can you... I'm going to ask you to step down and look at this map, and if you can just kind of generally, it's on the ground, I'm going to get it up there in a minute, kind of generally your direction of travel on that day.
All right.
Williams, if you could just, using this map, if you see with Phoenix Boulevard and Forest Parkway, and Riverdale Road, and the McDonald's over here, interstate up there.
Yes.
If you could kind of just in general show us the road and your kind of direction of travel.
I was coming from Riverdale Road this way, and the light was red right here. I got into the left
Speak
lane.
up for us.
I was on 139, Riverdale Road. The real estate seminars on the opposite side of the airport, so it was on Virginia Avenue.
So you were just trying to come straight up Riverdale Road through this intersection?
Yes, I was going to actually go around this curve around the airport.
Okay.
Yes.
And were you alone in your car?
Yes.
Do you recall how the traffic was when you were trying to get through that intersection at this particular time of day?
Yes. The light was green, but traffic wasn't moving.
And at some point, did you make it through the intersection but moving slow?
I actually drove into the left lane to bypass the traffic that wasn't moving. And when I approached the intersection is when I seen Ms. Hannah.
Okay. So you go around some of the traffic in the left lane.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the first thing that draws your attention to there being something going on just past that intersection?
Well, what drove my attention to begin with was that the light was green and nobody was moving.
Okay. And then what happens next?
I ended up approaching the intersection and then seeing that everybody was stopped out watching Miss Hannah Payne outside of her vehicle.
What did you observe? I mean, obviously you didn't know her name at the time, but what did you observe happening that drew your attention?
I just seen her outside hitting on his window or his car door, and that's what made me just pull out my phone.
Okay. And describe what you see as far as where is Miss Payne standing when you see her?
Well, her back is towards me, so I didn't see her face or anything, but she was actually standing at the guy's driver door.
Okay.
That's what I saw.
And what did you see her doing at that driver's door?
Yelling, hitting on the window, hitting on the door, whatever she was doing.
From your angle,
From my angle.
it appeared that she was hitting on either the window or the door.
Yes.
Could you see if she had anything in her hands?
At the time, no, I did not.
What else happens next?
I ended up pulling out my phone to record. Honestly, I hate to say it like this, but it was like another day in Clayton County. And as I was recording, I heard a gunshot.
Now, did you see any sort of struggle between the driver of the car that she's standing at and Miss Payne?
Yes.
Okay, describe what you saw.
It just looked like a little pushing back and forth.
And you indicated that you pulled out your phone and recorded. Are you kind of moving past it as it's happening when you record?
Yes, I was actually traveling past it when I was recording.
And you would agree that there's some sort of struggle or tussle between the two people?
Yes, I ended up getting out to check on the guy after I heard the gunshot.
When you recorded what was on your phone, were you able to then view that recording?
Yes, I actually sent it to an officer on the site that same day.
Okay.
I don't remember his name, but if I could go through my email, I could probably tell you, find it.
Okay, but you had a chance to look at the recording that you were able to capture on your phone.
Yes.
Did you alter that recording or delete it or add anything to it in any way?
No, ma'am.
So the video that you provided to law enforcement is what you recorded on your phone?
Yes.
So once you made that recording and you realized that there was a gunshot, what did you do?
The recording, I just sent to the officer at the scene. Obviously, when it first happened, I got out. I parked my car in the middle of the street and got out and checked on the gentleman.
Okay. And did you notify officers that you had a video?
I did.
But were you able to stay around to write statements and have a full interview on that scene?
I didn't stay around to write a statement because I was running late for a seminar.
And did you let law enforcement know that's what was happening?
I did send it to an officer on the scene, though, to his email, yes.
And did you let officers know on the scene, I have this video, but I have to be to this class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you eventually come to the Clayton County Police Department to give an interview about what you saw?
Yes, somebody, I don't know the officer's name at the time, but somebody did call me probably about a couple weeks later.
And let's be honest, were you kind of reluctant to be involved at that time?
Honestly, it didn't matter to me, honestly, if I'm being honest.
Do you recall telling law enforcement that you didn't really want to go to court, but that you were willing to provide the video?
I'm a little biased because my dad's an officer,
Okay.
so.
And you told law enforcement that as well?
Yes.
Do you also recall telling law enforcement that once you learned that the gentleman had passed away, you thought you should bring the video?
Yes.
And that your interview with law enforcement, was that back in 2019 sometime after?
I believe so. It wasn't long after it happened.
And so you, back in 2019, you turned over the video and made your interview, is that right?
Yes.
Now, in the meantime, have you had a request of me to assist you with a traffic arrest that you have had?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you ask me?
I asked you, could you put in a word for me or just help me out for something that I had dealing with last summer as far as the DUI?
Okay, and that was something that happened in 2022?
3-4 years afterwards.
Okay, and you are aware that I don't
Yes.
work in traffic court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and have I made you any promise that I will get your case dismissed or anything like that?
No, you just said you would put in a word for me.
Okay. And would you recognize, in addition to the video that you took, would you be able to recognize still photographs from that video?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
Would you be able to recognize portions of that video?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Just showing you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 20. It is marked as the cell phone video of Cameron Williams. You've already indicated that you did not alter or delete or have do anything to adjust the video that you took on your cell phone. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibits 21 and 22. Do you recognize those as portions of the recording that you made, as still shots of that recording?
Yes, ma'am.
And do those fairly and accurately depict at least 2 moments of the video that you took?
Yes.
And at this time, State would tender States 20, 21, and 22.
Any objection? Okay, admitted without objection.
And at this time, the State is requesting to publish. Oh, yes. State's Exhibit 20, but I'm going to take down the map first.
Okay, you may publish.
While that's getting pulled up, Mr. Williams, you would agree there's a voice in the video, and that's just you making a couple of comments. Is that correct?
Yes.
The voice that we hear is you.
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not you had any contact with the defendant, Ms. Payne, after the incident occurred?
No, no contact at all. I just seen her in the middle of the street,
Okay.
but no conversation.
That you can recall today?
No, we didn't have any conversation.
Okay. Well, let me remind you, do you recall talking to law enforcement indicating that she asked if you had seen what happened. Does that
She
sound
did
familiar?
ask me that, actually. She
Okay.
did.
And is that the extent of the video that you had taken and recorded in this incident?
Yes.
Oh, you have. We show display State's Exhibit 21. Wait for that to go away. Then click on the photo itself. I don't know what it's in. Okay. And it should be on your screen as well, is that correct?
Yes.
And so do you see, in the photograph, do you see what appear to be some hands, the hands of the driver of the red truck?
Yes.
Okay. And if you would display State's Exhibit 22. And it's, in State's Exhibit number 22, do you see the firearm displayed in the defendant's right hand?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Have you had the opportunity in the last 4 years to watch? Have you watched your interview?
Watched her interview?
Your interview.
My interview? No, I have not.
Okay. So I'm going to just ask you a couple of questions to see if it kind of jogs your memory about a couple of things that you said back then.
Okay.
And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
All right.
Okay. You may.
Yeah, they haven't shown much evidence in the way of like when they show evidence, usually we don't get to see the screen of that. So that was good to see the picture. Looked like she had some cute heels on though. Did you see that? It looked like black strappy heels. Sorry, I was going back and looking at the still shots of the pictures on my phone. There's Dad. don't know who the blonde woman playing with her hair is. Hello, anybody coming in that's coming in late? Oh, they're testing for temperatures, it looks like. And I think that's Mom sitting beside Dad. Yeah. Lots of people coming in. Hey, Morgana. Morgana Banana. Sorry, I'm in the living room now. I had to move. And I have lots of background noises. I'm sorry. But once Dale gets awake and out of the bedroom, I can move in there and get set up at my little desk. So, yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
All right, now, just kind of try to refresh your memory just a little bit. Do you recall talking to the detectives indicating that you believed that the two, Ms. Payne and the driver, might have been tussling over the gun?
Yes, I do recall
Okay.
that.
You indicated there was a tussle. I just wanted to make sure you were more specific
Yes.
about that. What do you remember seeing in that regard? If you can recall. I know it's been 4.5 years.
It's been a long time, but it's just, trying to go back thinking 3-4 years. What I mainly remember the most is when I'm riding past, it's just a physical between the two of them, but as far as their arms.
Okay.
And just her yelling. That's pretty much the most part.
Did you ever see the driver of the truck, and her yelling, is that
Yeah,
correct?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did you ever see the driver of the truck get out of the vehicle?
No.
Did you ever see anything in his hands that would, that you would have seen as a weapon?
No.
And Judge, we are going to, with the court's permission, we are going to replay the very short video.
Any objection?
No, no.
Attorney, you may proceed.
And thank you. With that, Judge, the state does not have further questions.
Any cross-examination, Attorney Duncan? Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been sitting for a while, and so at this time, I'm going to give you a break. It is now 10:20. I would ask that you return at 10:45 so that we can resume. All the instructions I've previously given still apply.
Maybe it was just flat strapped sandals. I didn't get a good look because it flew past on my screen too quick, I think, and I wasn't paying close enough attention. Not close enough attention. Nah. Like who was even looking? She had a dang gun in her hand. And why was she pulling a gun? Still don't get that. Yeah. She needs a break to get ready for his BS. I don't know. I feel like he just doesn't. I feel like he's like just pulling these questions out of nowhere because he's got to ask questions, you know? I don't know. Yep, you came back just in time for the break, Lee. Just in time for the break. Yeah. Um, let me see. Hold on, let me check real quick and make sure we're caught up on the stream, on the timer or whatever. Oh, what did she say? What time did she say to be back? Did she say a time? I think she said 25 minutes. Let me look at the stream though. Okay, now we're live. I was behind about 5 minutes, it looks like. Looks like he's asking questions that she wants him to ask too. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Um, while we're waiting on the break, for those of you that didn't catch Lori Vallow Daybell's arraignment, we can watch that real quick. Let me run over and grab that. Exciting, exciting. We got some dates for her upcoming hearings and stuffs. So let me go find that real quick. Yeah, I know it's quiet, Mickey. I don't have anything playing on here, and Eli's TV is randomly so loud and obnoxious that I don't want to have to, you know, have to, yeah, put that on you guys. I missed late afternoon yesterday because my neighbor dropped by and was here for a couple hours. Aw, that's all right. That's all right. Hold on, I'm looking for the. Let me mute this for a minute so I can play this other audio. Okay, I found it. Now I just got to share it with you guys. Yeah, this is Lori Vallow Daybill. We'll watch this real quick while we're waiting on the uh, trial to resume. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay.
Do you know if the victim wishes to be heard at this hearing? Calling number 6 on this morning's calendar. Number 6 is CR 2021. It is 001704. And number 7 is CR 2022 142. State of Arizona versus Lori Vallow. It's the time set for the not guilty arraignment as to each case. For the state?
Your Honor, Trinity Kay on behalf of the state in both matters. For the record, the victim is appearing virtually in the 2022 matter. Also for the record, the next of kin, we're going to appear in the 2021. We have attempted to reach them. We are unable to reach them at this point, but they were aware of this and did just want to report to know that they did wish to appear.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. Counsel?
Good morning, Keith Terry and Danae Suki on behalf of Ms. Vallow, who's present appearing in custody.
Thank you. And ma'am, could you state your full name, please?
Lori Vallow Daybell,
And your date of birth?
6/26/73.
All right, then this is the time set for the not guilty arraignment on each count. We'll start with number 6. As to number 6, ma'am, you are before the court on count 1
We'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Do you waive a reading?
Yes, Your Honor.
And we'll set the matter for your next court hearings are this as follows in this case. The next court hearing will be an initial pretrial conference. That will be on January 18th. It's at 8:15 in the morning before Commissioner Garfinkel.
What I want to know is how in the world can something so evil have such a sweet voice? You know what I'm saying? It's just gross.
The comprehensive pretrial conference will be on February 21. It's at 8:30 in the morning, and that's before Judge Boreski. The final trial management conference will be on March 28. That's also at 8:30 in the morning before Judge Boreski. And then the trial assignment date on this case will be on April 4th. That's at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's before the master calendar judge. You do need to be present for the court hearings. If you fail to appear without good cause, a warrant could issue for your arrest. I'll go ahead and affirm the current release conditions. We go to number 7. On number 7, ma'am, you are also before the court for a not guilty arraignment on count 1. We'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. We'll set the matters for the next court dates, which are likely to be the same ones I just gave you. The initial pretrial conference, that will be on January 18. It's at 8:15 in the morning before Commissioner Garfinkel. Comprehensive pretrial conference, that will be on February 21. It's at 8:30 in the morning before Judge Boreski. The final trial management conference is March 28. It's at 8:30 in the morning. That's also before Judge Boreski. And then your trial assignment date is April 4th. That's at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's before the master calendar judge. I'll go ahead and affirm the current release conditions as to this cause as well. From the state, was there any additional issues that you wanted the court to review or discuss? Yes, Your Honor, 2 things. First, these are both first-degree murder cases. The court set the trial dates as if they were not complex. First-degree murder cases are automatically complex cases. We would ask that we amend the dates to align with complex case 270 days out for the trial date. If I do that, will we be able to get dates today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and does the defense wish to be heard? Do you wish to be heard on that issue?
Your Honor,
Object, or do you agree?
we object at this time.
All right, then. I think I'll just leave the dates the way they are now, and I'll ask the state to go ahead and file a motion before the assigned, either before the next court date or the Judge Boreski, and let him decide how he wants to proceed with respect to the dates. Sure. What was the other issue? The other issue, Your Honor, was the state did file a motion and emailed it to court and counsel on Monday with regards to a protective order for the exhibits so that the state can comply with all of the protective orders that are in place in Idaho. I know defense counsel has not had a time to respond to that, so I didn't know if the court wanted to set a time before Judge Boreski so that we could deal with that issue. Obviously, we don't want to wait till the IPTC to handle that. Okay. Sir?
We do not object to a protective order.
You do not object? No. I did receive the proposed order. Defense counsel has indicated there's no objection, so the court will grant that request, and I'll sign the order immediately following the hearing. Thank you, Your Honor. The state has no other issues. All right, thank you. Anything from the defense?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, and thank you. We'll be in recess as to this matter. Thank you for appearing. Thanks so much. I sure will. Oh, it's ordered. I think I affirmed both dates. Did I not? The release conditions on both? Oh, is she what? Yes. She needs to sign for the release conditions. I know I'm getting it right now. I'm sorry. My apologies. Yeah, I will. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That makes sense to me, Lee. Because I was thinking about that because I was like, there was so much, and it included so many people inside that case, you know. So watching in 2 times speed, Sin Abigail. Um, I could hear it was so weird because I kept hearing like this weird, like eerie sound in the background of the very end of that video of her, of Lori Vallow Daybell. And I don't know what the sound was. I don't know if it was like a kid outside of the courtroom, but it sounded like a kid like screaming or yelling like mommy, 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 like really fast, or making like I don't know. It was very eerie. Like I don't know. It was just eerie. And then seeing her standing there in that orange. Like I kind of felt like it was like JJ, you know? Anyway. Um so I'm gonna go back and put up our stream in case they're back. They might be back already. I do not know yet. Let me look. Ooh, really? Gail said I heard it too. Thought maybe it was the demon insider. Uh, okay, so we are not back yet. Oh, I think we're on our way back. Let me mute and turn on this feed. That was literally like perfect timing, right? You're welcome, Dawn. I love it that I can share it with you guys. I wonder who she's talking to and what they're talking about. Everybody's filing back in. Wonder if they went out and took a smoke break. Steph, whenever you get to this part, I'm talking to you verbally, but I will type to you textually too. I'm thinking the prosecutors are just like, let's get this show on the road. I don't know if he's going to nap today or not. We'll see. I don't expect him to this early, but I do expect him to after lunch. So, and just so you know, I will probably, hey Chris, I was watching your Christmas video earlier this morning. Watching you, that was cute. And I hope your migraine goes away soon. I don't like you having a migraine. But yeah, I will probably end up, hold on a minute, Eli's doing his little thing. Anyway, I will probably cut the stream and then start it back after. I've got to read Grinch's comment here in a minute. I now I've lost my train of thought. We'll cut the feed or cut the stream when they go to lunch and then come back whenever lunch is over and start the second stream, like part 2 for today. Grinch says, I'm thinking about going Monday. Y'all better not talk about me badly. Oh, you know what, Grinch? My family is no different than their family, to be honest. I mean, I've got uncles that look and act like him. So I really feel bad for them. They have to be really struggling hardcore with what they've got going on. I totally get it. And I appreciate that you are here and that you are able to, I guess, take the hits, so to speak. But I feel like we're very, very, I feel like we're very low key mean in here. Like I wouldn't allow anybody to be just downright evil in here to anybody. So, very minimal sleep. Thanks, friend. Chris says, only being Chris says, thanks, friend. It's getting better. Well, I'm glad. Steph says, Grinch, you're going to have to give us a signal so we know it's you, or we can't promise anything. Yeah, we need to know, are you male, female? What color is your hair? So we know it's you. And then you can come back and rewatch so we can say hi to you and see yourself on the screen. That would be funny. Anyway, okay. Dad has had very minimal sleep. I would imagine so. In all seriousness, we kid about him dozing off, but I bet he's had very minimal sleep. Good morning, Kel. Good morning. Good morning. Hannah is a wonderful woman. She just made a bad judgment. But have no authority to judge anyone. Blonde with a green tint faux hawk. Okay, nice. It's nice to meet you too. Steph says, I understand your stance, Grinch, but she should be held liable in some way, even if it's to a lesser charge. Mistakes that lead to someone's death shouldn't be taken lightly. Exactly. 100%. We're all one bad judgment away from being in her shoes, Grinch. That's why I try not to leave the house. Well, I mean, you were talking about, Kel, it being, like a really bad case of road rage, right? And the fact of the matter, and I don't know Hannah from what's that phrase? A can of paint. I don't know Hannah, you know, um, but yeah, like I keep struggling with why did she even pull the gun out? I don't understand that, you know. I don't. But anyway, um, you know, things can happen, and just like that, you know. Um, but then when I look at his family, you know, they're sitting there knowing that their husband, brother, father, dad, you know, whatever, um, is not here anymore because he had a diabetic episode in a truck. And I don't know the ins or outs if he accidentally pulled it. He wouldn't have accidentally pulled it if she hadn't put it in his face. If it happened that way. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't know. It just not a good situation all the way around. That's why I stay away from guns. I don't trust myself with them, and having that kind of power in my hand scares me. I'd be more dangerous than helpful. I always say, Steph, if something were to happen, like if someone were to like come in at me, you know, I would, depending on the situation, obviously, right? But like because you never know how you're really going to act unless something happens. But I'm literally like, I've always said, oh God, if something were to happen, I would like, they wouldn't even have to kill me. I would just go, and fall over and pass out and die. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I'm, yeah. I would be like a tree going timber, just fall right over. So, I just hate it because she's so young and probably, probably, you know, is going to be spending a lot of time, spending a lot of time. And that's sad. Um, Never been in that type of situation. Did I accidentally pause this? I'm bad about that sometimes. You guys know this, right? You guys know this, right? Um, nope, it's not. Sorry, Eli's TV. Let me mute this for a minute. Abigail is so far behind. God love her heart. She's trying her best to get caught up. But I agree, Kel. I mean, you just never know what people have going on in the background of their mind, you know? Oh, there he is. There. Just look for the faux hawk. All right. Will do. That's what he looks like. We'll be watching for you. Yeah, we'll wave at you, Grinch. And make sure you wave at us. Make sure you give us a wave too so we can say hi back at you. So funny. Oh, Chris is saying, Abigail, Abigail, hi, friend. Oh, cute. Oh, Dale's waking up. Hold on, I'm going to mute. You guys keep chatting, and I will move to a new location here shortly. I'm going so I can see what they're showing in court and not on TV. Oh, I got you. I understand. Because, yeah, they're not showing, like, they're being, and you never know from one trial to the other what they're actually going to show as far as evidence goes. And a salute. But yeah, you just never know what they're going to show in through the screen. Report back to us. Yeah. Yep. But you be sure and tell Dad that we're rooting for him. We're rooting for Dad to stay awake. So I'm sure he's already been alerted, or the family has been alerted that he's been seen sleeping on national TV. Poor guy. But seriously, they're being very limited on what they're showing. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I know they don't usually show like any like graphic, usually like any like autopsy photos or anything like that. Unless, I mean, they'll show some things like that in trials, but not the hard stuff, and the hard to see things. But it depends on one trial to the next, and it's like they're not even really showing documents and stuff, so hardly. Looks like the judge is back. I might have to mute.
Okay, are we ready to proceed?
Your Honor, can approach briefly.
Okay.
And they're out again. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go move my camera move my computer to the bedroom, and get set up in there with my microphone and stuff. Use the potty. So you guys, if you need to go get some snacks, refresh your drink, make sure to check out Lee's table with all the snacks and the donuts and muffins and bagels. Yeah. But I will be back here. I will leave the stream up and going. So, okay.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to inform our witness. Mr. Williams, there's a request to refresh your memory about your interview with the police officers, and so we're not going to continue with your testimony at this juncture in terms of cross-examination. So an investigator from the DA's office is going to take you back there so that you can refresh your memory about the interview, and then we're going to bring you back for cross-examining to occur. Yes? Okay, thank you so much. So you may step down. Okay, the state may call its next, well, let me bring the jurors in. Mr. Innes, yes, bring the jurors in, please.
I'm sorry. I just got to say real quick that that judge is so cute. I just love what she just did. She's so fun. She's like,
And just to apprise the jurors of what is occurring, at the point that we went for break, we had one witness, Mr. Williams here, and Attorney Tucker was about to cross-examine. We're going to bring him back for the cross-examination, but we're going to go ahead and take another witness at this time, just to keep you informed of what is occurring. Okay, Chief Assistant, you may proceed. You may come up.
Thank you. The state calls Christine LaVoy. If you would, thank you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give before the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can take your hand down and have a seat and get situated, please. And if you would please introduce yourself to the jurors.
My name is Christine LaVoy, ChristineLavoie.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Division of Forensic Science.
And what is your job description?
I'm a forensic DNA analyst.
What is your educational background for that position?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Microbiology from Mississippi University for Women, and I also have a Master of Science with a concentration in Biochemistry from Mississippi State University.
And once you received your degrees, do you also receive training from the GBI itself?
Yes, when I was hired by GBI, I underwent a year-long training program which consisted of written, oral, and practical exams and a competency exam.
And do you receive continuing education and training at the GBI?
Yes, I do, every year.
And tell the jury a little bit about your experience and your caseload as it relates to forensic biology.
So I'm a forensic DNA analyst, so I'm assigned DNA cases each month to test.
And approximately how many DNA cases have you tested over the course of your experience?
About 1,200 cases.
And how long have you been with the GBI?
Almost 9 years.
And have you previously testified to your results and your findings?
I have.
And have you previously been tendered as an expert?
Yes.
Here in Georgia?
Yes.
And at this time, the state would tender Ms. LaVoy as an expert in forensic DNA analysis.
And after that impressive background, no objection.
She's admitted as an expert in forensic DNA analysis.
Can you tell the jury just a little bit in general about what is DNA?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's the genetic blueprint that makes us who we are. We get half from our mother and half from our father, and it's unique to each individual, with the exception being identical twins.
And where in the body, or in what substances, where can DNA be found?
DNA can be found in all nucleated cells, so it can be found in your blood, semen, saliva, and skin cells.
And you may have already answered this question, but what makes it valuable for identification purposes?
It can uniquely identify an individual.
What are the general steps and procedures involved in the DNA testing process?
The DNA typing process is a multi-step process. The first step is called extraction. This is where we take a cutting of the evidence item, place it into a test tube. Into that test tube, we'll add chemicals that will break open the cells and release any DNA. Then we determine how much DNA is present. Then we make multiple copies of specific regions of the DNA. And then we place it onto a genetic analyzer, which will separate the DNA based upon size and detect it. And from that, we would get a DNA profile, and we would compare that DNA profile to any reference samples.
And are all DNA testing results peer-reviewed?
Yes.
And what does that mean?
It means another analyst will look at all of my worksheets, my data, and they will draw their own conclusions and ensure that they agree with my findings.
And so every DNA report and every DNA conclusion is peer-reviewed?
Yes.
The procedures that you just described with the extraction, isolation, the quantification, amplification, and the typing, are all of those procedures generally accepted in the scientific community?
Yes.
Are those procedures reliable and reproducible?
Yes.
And are they based on valid scientific theory?
Yes.
And in this particular case, did you follow the procedures in an acceptable manner?
I did.
As it relates to this case, did the crime lab receive, y'all differ, are you buccal or buccal?
Buccal.
You call them buccal swabs, okay. Did you receive buccal swabs of the defendant in this case?
I did.
And did they appear to be properly sealed?
Yes.
And was there any evidence of tampering?
No.
I'm going to just show you what has been admitted as State's Exhibit number 5. You see on State's Exhibit number 5 any indication that you received or opened or processed the swabs that are contained therein?
Yes.
And where is that?
My initials.
And that would be, for the record, under the number 5, but upside down, and you see the CL. Is it H or A?
CA.
CAL and a date, is that correct?
Yes.
In this specific case, did the GBI Crime Lab conduct testing on swabs that were obtained from the ridged area of a firearm used in this case?
Yes.
Okay. So kind of explain what your role was as it relates to this case.
So I performed the DNA extraction, and then I determined if there was a sufficient amount of DNA to move to the amplification step to try to get a DNA profile, and there was a sufficient amount, so I was able to generate a DNA profile.
From the swabs from the gun, is that correct?
Correct.
And when you talk about the ridged area of the slide of the gun, can you kind of, do you know kind of generally where that is on the firearm?
It's the top portion of the firearm.
And so when you were asked to perform the extraction and the other steps that you just described on the swabs from the firearm, what did you locate? Did you locate a profile?
Yes.
Okay. What were your results?
So I obtained a mixture from those swabbings, and a mixture just means that there's more than one person present. And that mixture was too complex for me as a human analyst to interpret. So it was forwarded to something called TrueAllele, which is a software program we use for mixtures, and another analyst would have performed that analysis.
And even though there was a mixture, were you able to tell how many profiles you believed were there?
When I visually looked at the mixture, there were at least 3 individuals.
And were you able to make any determinations about the major contributor on those 3 profiles?
So I was able to get a major female contributor from that mixture.
And kind of describe for the jury what that a major versus a minor contributor, what you do with those.
So the major contributor is the person who contributes more DNA, and the minors contribute less.
And this might sound like a weird question, but does that, if you're the major versus the minor, does that have any bearing on how much they may have touched the item or anything like that, or is it just related to how much DNA they left?
It is possible that they could have touched that item more.
The major.
Correct.
And you indicated that you forwarded the profiles that you received for a different type of analysis. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you conduct that analysis?
No.
So the extraction of the profile from the swabs of the firearm and determining that there's a mixture, that's the extent of your work in this case. Is that correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Examiner LaVoy?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you ever see the end results of what, when you sent it off to the TrueAllele to do the testing, did you ever see the end results?
No.
Okay. So you're going off what you initially saw before you send it off to be tested by another means of testing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that there was a major contributor that was female.
Correct.
And was there, from what you could see before it was sent off, was there a minor contributor of a male?
There was.
Was there another minor contributor of another male DNA?
There was another minor contributor. I don't know if it was male.
Okay, but there was one that did classify as male.
Correct.
And do you know, and it was just basically from a swab, so you don't know where from the gun that DNA was taken?
From the slide area.
The sliding area. So the minor contributor that was male.
I'm sorry. The mixture that I obtained came from the slide area.
Okay, so it's fair to say that there was a major contributor on the slide and then a minor contributor on the slide, and one was female and one was male, correct?
Correct.
And then you weren't sure where the other contributor had come from, correct?
It would also come from the slide. Only the slide was swabbed.
Okay, so the trigger was never tested.
That's correct.
Okay, and you didn't see the end results, so you can't really testify that that came.
That's correct.
No further questions.
Any redirect from the state?
Okay, may this witness step down and be excused?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Slip away.
State calls Cynthia Segan. If you would raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give before the court in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can take your hand down and have a seat. And once you're situated, if you would please introduce yourself to the jury.
Yes, my name is Cynthia Seguin. That is CynthIaSeguin.
And how are you employed?
I am employed with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Division of Forensic Sciences. I am currently the Southwest Regional Crime Laboratory Assistant Manager, and my specialty is forensic biology.
And so Southwest Lab, that means you're in Moultrie right now.
I am in Moultrie.
Were you employed, how long have you been with the GBI?
18 and a half years.
And back in 2020, you were with the GBI.
Yes.
And where were you?
I was at the headquarters laboratory in Decatur as an assistant manager in the forensic biology section.
And being in the forensic biology section, what specifically is your job description?
Okay. I receive evidence from state and local agencies to look for the presence of bodily fluids, mainly blood, semen, saliva, and I perform DNA analysis on those items. I issue reports and testify in court.
And what is your educational background to hold that job?
I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology from Georgia State University, and then I received extensive training from the GBI in the detection of bodily fluids and DNA analysis. That included working with mock samples to simulate casework and oral and practical exams.
And do you also receive continuing education and training have you received that throughout the time at the crime lab?
Yes, we are required to get at least 8 hours of continuing education in the DNA field.
And what is your experience as far as your caseload? Approximately how many DNA typing and comparison analyses have you done?
Oh,
Y'all always love that question.
I lost count. Probably about 10 years ago, I hit about 1,000, so several thousand cases.
And have you testified in court regarding your results previously?
Yes, I have.
And have you been tendered as an expert?
Every time, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would tender Ms. Seguin as an expert in forensic biology and forensic DNA analysis.
No objection.
So admitted.
In your position at the crime lab, have you had the occasion to conduct what is known as TrueAllele analysis?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I'm going to spell out TrueAllele for our court reporter. It's one word, capital T-R-U, capital A-L-L-E-L-E. Did you receive training on how to conduct that particular analysis?
Yes, I did. I was actually part of the team that brought TrueAllele analysis into the GBI, set up all the policies and procedures, and then I've actually also trained other analysts in performing TrueAllele analysis.
And have you testified to TrueAllele results in the past?
Yes, I have.
All right, so we've talked about it. What is it? What is TrueAllele?
Okay. So TrueAllele is just a computer software system that helps us analyze complex mixtures that we're not able to separate into the contributors of that mixture by hand.
And so if there's more than one profile on a particular swab or on a particular item, sometimes the profiles can become too mixed up to separate.
Yes, so a lot of DNA just gives us a single person's profile, and we're able to do a direct comparison to known reference samples. When we have two people's DNA, we have a mixture. Some mixtures we're able to actually separate into a major contributor and a minor contributor, but once we start getting multiple individuals or certain other types of mixtures, we're not able to separate them out manually, and we use this computer software to help us do that.
And what does the software do? What does it help us do versus a traditional comparison?
So it's going to try to determine what are the best explanations for the data, what DNA that's in that mixture is most likely to be contributed by the major person and to a minor person, and then it compares those explanations that it made to DNA reference samples, and it tells us how more or less likely that person is a contributor to that mixture than an unrelated person in the population.
So it's comparing it to how likely it is that this person is more so than a random person in the population.
Yes.
Okay. Are all DNA results, including the TrueAllele results, peer reviewed?
Yes, they are.
Are the procedures that you just described for TrueAllele, are they accepted in the scientific community?
Okay, I had DNA data that was already processed by Ms. Lavoie that was obtained from the swabs from the ridged areas of the slide from gun.
And did you also have known DNA samples from two individuals to compare?
Yes, I did.
And would those two individuals be Kenneth Herring and the defendant Hannah Payne?
Yes.
Why did this case qualify for TrueAllele analysis?
This was a mixture of at least 3 individuals, and so therefore it was automatically sent to TrueAllele.
And what can you tell us about the 3 contributors as far as how many major, how many minor, and the gender?
There was at least 1 male, and there was a major female contributor.
And what were your results of the TrueAllele analysis in this case?
Okay, so first a match was identified between that DNA data from the swabs of the ridged area of the slide from gun and Hannah Payne. A match between that DNA data and Hannah Payne is approximately 300 sextillion times more probable than a coincidental match to an unrelated person in the population.
And y'all, you know exactly what question I'm asking next. How many zeros are in 30 sextillion?
I believe it's 24.
Okay. And there's not even that many people on the planet.
No, there's about 8 billion people, and a billion has 9 zeros, and the sextillion, like I said, has at least 24 zeros.
So the major profile that was female, you did the TrueAllele results to Hannah Payne.
That is correct.
What, if anything, was your result when you compared the minor profiles to the known samples?
So when I was comparing it now to Kenneth Herring, I got inconclusive results because I did not get meaningful match statistics, which just means that the comparison to Kenneth Herring put us in our inconclusive range in our statistics.
And why would there be an inconclusive range? Tell us about that.
So when we were doing our analyses to introduce TrueAllele into the laboratory, we were looking to make sure that all the people who we made mixtures, and we made sure that all of the people who were supposed to be in the mixtures were included, and all of the people who were supposed to be excluded were excluded. We did have a range of statistics where we were not having those true contributors show into the mixture, or those true exclusions show into the mixture, and so we call that range our inconclusive range, and we're not able to say whether or not a person is or is not a part of that mixture.
So you can't say that Mr. Herring did touch the gun, and you can't say he didn't.
That is correct.
But you can say that Hannah Payne's DNA was there.
Yes.
That's all I have to.
Any cross-examination?
Examiner Segon?
Sigwin.
Sigwin, okay. So when you're doing these testing and it was sent off, you weren't present when it was tested, correct?
I did not do the original DNA testing, that is
But-
correct.
But you did receive the results, and you're obviously very capable of reading those results. And you said that there was a major and then a minor. The major was female and the minor was male, correct?
There was at least a major female and at least a minor male, yes.
And these were all on top of the slide, correct?
From where that description is, the ridged areas of the slide from the gun.
Okay. Now, does this analysis actually try to test to see if the one DNA is on top of the other, or does it not get that detailed?
We're not able to determine that. It just all gets mixed together.
Okay. And in this mixture, you said it was inconclusive, which means you can't rule out that it was Mr. Herring's DNA, but you can't confirm with, say, 24 zeros that it was him, correct?
Yeah, I cannot say whether or not his DNA was or was not present on the gun.
And a major contributor would be somebody who's possibly handled the gun before. How many times does it? And I know if you can't answer, please just let me know. But a major would be somebody who has, handled it a couple of times, like taking it off and putting it down or holding it.
Yes, the more somebody handles something, the more their DNA is going to be left behind.
Okay. And then a minor could be somebody that briefly grabs it and then it would leave DNA on it.
Yes.
And that's the DNA and kind of what the conclusion you came to from these analysis?
I don't really have any conclusion about who grabbed it for any amount of time. I just know that Hannah Payne was the major contributor on the gun, and I did not get conclusive results for Kenneth Herring.
Okay. So you can't, and I'm not sure what this machine does, but you can't say conclusively that the male DNA was on top of or the minor was on top of the major.
That is not something we can do at all.
It's just kind of a blend.
Yeah.
So two DNAs were blended on the top, or
There were
possibly
actually,
three.
Yeah, actually 3 DNA, all blended together on that part of the slide. Yes.
And a third DNA probably could have been recognized by being handed the gun and briefly holding it, or.
Yes, anybody who had previous contact with the gun could have left their DNA behind. Yes.
No further questions.
Any redirects from the state?
And that could be any males that you couldn't conclusively say that it's Kenneth Herring's male DNA. It could be any other males that touched the firearm as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Yes, it's very. But it was concluded that it was two separate male DNAs.
I know that there's at least a major female and at least one minor male. That's all I'm able to determine from the DNA.
Okay, but you said there was possibly another male DNA, which would be categorized as minor?
So there is a third profile there. I can't say if that third profile is the one that is contributing the male DNA. All I know is there's a major female because that shows the most DNA, and at least one of the two minor contributors is a male. That's all I can say at that point.
Because you didn't have a swab to compare the two minor males, you just came with the one female, one male, and possibly a third.
Correct.
No further questions.
Have any other questions for this witness? Please. Yes, she may be excused. Thank you. Make a call to this next witness.
We're going to check on the status of Mr. Williams.
Okay.
Finally, I am back here in my desk, at my desk. Ay. Thank you guys for being so respectful in the chat. You guys are awesome. I appreciate that. It's that kind of stuff that makes the world go round.
Okay.
That's the witness that we have available for cross-examination.
Okay. Do you have another witness, or you're going to have to wait for him to complete
I
review?
have very lengthy witnesses remaining, so I would ask that we finish Mr. Williams prior to.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just wait for him to be brought into the
Check.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just working, changing things around. Plea deal was a joke and it answered my question. I've been asking her brother if she got one. I feel it would have been a deal. It would have been taken. Yeah, I knew that there was a plea deal that was offered like right before the trial started. I think. Yeah, I think so. Oh my goodness. Did anybody get any snacks? Life with parole. That's right. Yeah, I remember now. Mickey, you were talking about a kink in your neck. I have got a major kink in my neck. But it just showed up within the last 10 minutes. Right here. Oh. Man. Wonder who the dude right there in the gray and red hoodie is. Wonder who that is. And the guy there with the Adidas black and white jacket on, he has this snarl all the time. It's so funny. He's always like, his mouth is like Elvis. Was it Elvis that used to do that thing? No clue on the hoodie guy. Okay. Well, he looks like he's got purpose, so.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you were previously sworn, so Attorney Tucker has the opportunity to cross-examine you at this time.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. How are you doing? Well, my name is Matt Tucker. I'm the attorney for Ms. Payne. I appreciate you taking the time to be here today. Now, the clip that we saw was very quick, correct?
Correct.
Did you see what ensued before you videotaped?
You're funny.
Just a lot of arguing, yelling back and forth in the intersection.
Okay, and you saw that by the time you were there, the two cars Had they already collided, or did it appear it collided?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you kind of veered to the left and was driving by him, correct?
Yes.
To the
So
left,
that
to
lane
the
of
left.
traffic was kind of clear. You could go to the left and just continue on.
Like I stated earlier, I actually drove around a couple people to get through the intersection. I was running late for a class.
But did you find it was fairly easy to kind of just go around them?
In a way, after driving around a couple people, yes.
Okay, and there was no kind of cars blocking you from being able to go around them?
No.
Okay. Now,
The hoodie guy, maybe he was one of
video
the
was kinda
witnesses
quick.
that was
so I have
like
some more
at
still
the
pictures to have you identify if you don't
accident
mind.
scene
If I
and
may
stuff like
approach her.
that, but wasn't called as a witness, maybe.
And these are in chronological order. 14, 15, sorry about that, my handwriting.
I would just ask that he not whisper to
Okay,
witness.
I'm
If
sorry.
there's something to talk about.
I was explaining to him that my 14 doesn't really look like a 14, but I wanted to establish that 14 is where we start. Everything else is in chronological order.
Okay, you can just explain that out loud.
Okay.
Tell.
So as I stood there and explained to you that the first one starts at 14 and then goes in chronological order. Do you see those pictures?
I do.
And are they a fair and accurate representation of what you recorded on that day?
Yes, sir.
They're no way hindered in any way or altered or a misrepresentation of what your video showed.
I recorded these.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would like to send your defense exhibit number 14 to number 22.
Any objection from this?
Just, I would just like, there's clarification because he indicated they've not been altered in any way, and one of them is very clearly zoomed in. So I just want that clarification to be made. I don't have an objection to the photographs being tendered, but I want it to be made clear that one of them is, one of that's altered, but it's certainly zoomed in.
Okay.
Good morning,
and the
Mary
record
Lou.
reflects that. Your response?
I don't think he's gotten to it yet. When he does, he can make that observation.
Okay.
But otherwise, I would say does not object to the admission of the documents, of the photographs.
So admitted without objection. That answers your
Thanks. And if I may publish them to the jury.
You may approach.
Haven't seen that. Kind of refresh your memory what's going on so quickly.
I mean, I remember the video fine. I'm kind of confused on when the pictures are. It's the same thing I've been looking at.
So, but these are fair and accurate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So. So at the beginning, when you were pulling up. So as you were pulling up on the scene, maybe it's a better. Is that a better view? Okay. Okay, as you were pulling up the scene, that would be a shot that you took of your camera from the front of your vehicle, correct? Through the
Correct.
windshield?
Correct.
Okay, and you said at that time you saw them struggling, you heard them are yelling. Is that a fair, accurate
Yes.
depiction of
There
what
was definitely an argument and a tussle.
do you see the vehicles where they're positioned?
Yes.
And where they're positioned, does it appear that they have collided?
It may look like that.
But you weren't present when that occurred, correct?
I didn't see how they got to that point. No, I wasn't there for that.
But so
Was she
fair
in?
to
Has
say
she
when you
been in
came,
jail
you
this
came
whole
from
time? I
where
know
it
she's
is,
not been in
you
jail
see
this whole
right
time,
at that
but
point.
When I approached them, she was already out of her vehicle at his door.
And as you, I'll let Tessa back to you. As you refreshed your interview with the,
almost a year. Okay.
as you refreshed your memory with the interview with the police officers later on, correct?
Correct.
Until she was given bond.
Do you recall telling them
Thanks,
that
Grinch.
she was at the window, banging on the window with the gun?
Yes.
Okay. And at one point you even said that it appeared that he and her were struggling over the gun, correct?
Correct.
Okay. would this be a picture that depicts when you saw them struggling over the gun? Or is it just the whole struggle was so quick?
I think you show other pictures in that pile that could be a little bit more clear.
Okay. I may approach your honor.
Yes, you may.
You got to pull out which one.
Hi, and welcome anybody coming in that I have
That may
missed.
be the best one that he has.
Is there another one that might help show that picture?
Ricky Nelson.
I mean, out of these photos, that may be the best one that you have. But there's definitely a tussle when I approached them.
I may approach your honor.
Yes.
Now, you say that that may be the best depiction of them struggling over the gun, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you saw the Miss Payne on her tippy toes right there, correct?
I mean, that's the only picture I'm looking at.
Okay. And it appears that her left shoulder of her shirt is being pulled, correct?
I don't know if I can necessarily say that.
Okay. Did you see Miss Payne's shirt that day?
I mean, I honestly wasn't paying any mind to her clothing.
Okay, but you did see it after the incident?
Honestly, so after the gunshot went off, I actually went to go check on the gentleman in the truck. I wasn't worried about Miss Payne.
And in this defense exhibit number 16, from what you see there, does it appear that the shirt is being pulled on the left shoulder?
I see them both tussling. That's what I see.
And defense number 17, does that help give a better picture of a possible pulling of the shirt?
Judge, I'm not trying to be difficult, but he's trying to get him to say something that he has very clearly indicated that's not what he sees. He can't say that.
Putting a brand new picture in front of him to help refresh his memory, either he sees it or he doesn't.
And I'm going to sustain the objection. I think what you're trying to do is to get him to say something, and he's already clear in his response. So I'm going to sustain the objection.
In this tussle that you saw, it appeared both parties were pulling and tugging on each other.
Yes.
And you said at one point it appeared they were pulling and tugging on the gun.
At first, I originally didn't see the gun. After I watched the video several times is when I kind of came to that conclusion.
And that is what you told the police in your interview, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And during this period of time, did you see anything else in her hand?
No.
Did you see something that was close by to her on the ground?
Nope.
And if I may, this was the picture that was zoomed in on. So you see, that's a fair and accurate representation of what you videotaped, correct?
Yes, I remember her picking up the shell casing during this.
Now, zooming in on that right there, and that being basically the same picture, just zoomed in a little bit better, correct?
Okay.
All right, do you see what's there at her feet?
No, I do not. I don't know what that is.
Okay. Is it fair to say during the video that it appears she's picking up something right there?
Yes, she picked up a shell casing.
Okay. And is this a continuation of the video that appears what she picked up is in her hand?
Okay.
Does that appear to be a shell casing?
I believe the shell casing was picked up in the video. I think these photographs are one, real blurred, and then two, you wouldn't be able to see a shell casing through these photographs anyway.
And So you're not familiar if she picked up a phone or a shell casing?
I'm not saying that she didn't.
Oh, I'm just saying, you're saying you don't know what she picked up?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, to my knowledge, she picked up the shell casing from the video that I seen. And I'm not saying that she didn't drop her phone, but you know.
But you did not see when the phone, how it got to the ground? You didn't
No,
see any
I wasn't even paying attention to it, honestly. Never thought about it.
And you say she picks up the shell casing because you didn't see what was picked up?
When I watched the video for myself, and I've seen it a million times, it looks like she picked up a shell casing.
Okay. And how many shots were fired?
One.
So there's only one shell casing that she picked up, correct?
Correct.
And during this interview with the police, do you recall telling them that she asked you to stay by to tell the police what happened?
Correct, she did.
And she was asking basically for your assistant to give a accurate depiction of what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
She, when I got out of the car to go check on a gentleman, she asked me, did I see what happened? Could I be a witness?
And she didn't seem to be wanting to run or to get
No,
away?
not at all.
Okay. And you said later on when the police arrived, they walked up to her, she pulled the gun off her hip and handed it to the officer?
She cooperated.
Okay. Was he a male officer?
Yes.
And he didn't have any gloves when he took the gun, did he?
I'm not sure.
So you can't say if he had gloves or not?
I can't recall.
Okay. But he did take the gun.
Yeah, she cooperated with the officers.
And he was a male officer that took the gun?
Yes.
Now, also in your interview, you said when they were tussling around, you could hear what they were saying back and forth, correct?
No, I did not say that. I could hear Miss Payne. I couldn't hear the other gentleman. I could hear her just yelling stop, and I'm assuming that she was yelling stop over their tussle, but I don't have anything else.
So you heard her say stop, you
I heard
were
her
yelling?
Yeah, I heard her yelling, yes.
Okay, but you're not sure what she was yelling stop about?
Not sure at all.
But the tussle was continuing to ensue when she was screaming stop?
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect for this witness?
Nothing further to say, Judge.
Okay. May this witness be excused?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Does the state have another witness that it intends to call before lunch, or is this a good time to
I love that comment stuff.
Immediately stop the testimony in the middle.
Grinch says nope.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 11:50. I am going to go ahead and give you a lunch break. I will ask that you report back by 1 o'clock this afternoon so that we can move forward with our case. As always,
give short
the
lunch
instructions
breaks.
that I've given to you still apply. Hope you'll have a
Looks like
good
they're giving
lunch
an hour
and
and
see
10
you back
minutes.
up. Thank you.
So 1 o'clock. Right? That is what she just said, right? 1 o'clock. So we will start at 1 o'clock. I guess I'll go ahead and cut off this this stream and yeah. Go and try to get this kink out of my neck. Man. Put some actual clothes on. Be an adult. Anyway. Oh, you might go after lunch. We won't be mean to you, Grinch. We won't be mean to you. How was that line of questioning beneficial to her? I agree. I feel like...
Counsels, can you approach, please?
Oh, they're approaching. Let's see what they got to say. But we will be watching for the Grinch to show up. To show she didn't think she did anything wrong. I don't know. His what's the word I'm looking for? He's just very confusing to me. It's like I can't make heads or tails out of him. And it feels like he's like grasping at like straws or pulling stuff out of thin air, because I feel like he just is I don't know. He's just not giving her the best defense. And we can go, hey, he's one of us. We know him. Yeah. If I get on my motorcycle, it's not riding there. And that's what's here to take if I go. Okay. Do you think her lawyer was told her not to show emotion in front of the jury? Maybe. That's her worried, nervous, and scared look, honestly. Well, she does look nervous and scared to me. For sure.
Court stands recessed until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you.
Kel, the judge's orders indicated no one should show emotion that would impact the jury. Yeah, but the thing, if it's you, yeah, that would be impossible. If I were in her shoes, sitting there, there's no way I could not show emotion. I mean, you can try, but that's impossible. Impossible. So Poppy's wanting out, and I am going to go ahead and end this stream. Make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up, and make sure to if it were me in her seat, I'd be loaded up on benzos. Right. She is human, and to show remorse would be helpful, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Dawn would be crying the whole time. I know. Okay, so, yeah. Would it be helpful, I guess, maybe for me to put the link to the scheduled live after lunch? If I put the link to it, like in the comments section below this video. That way you guys can find it if it's not like automatically showing up for you. I can try to do that, and if I remember. Do you remember? Kel, I agree, but 1, it could influence the jury's decision, which is not good. 2, people would accuse her of faking it for sympathy. There's no benefit. We don't know if she's sobbing after they adjourn. That's true, but also I feel like most people are pretty good at being able to, they can tell. I feel like most people are pretty good at being able to tell if somebody's faking it or not. It's hard to fake real tears. I will say that. That's hard. It's hard to fake a red-tipped nose with snot coming out of it, So, but also, she's got to do what the judge says and what her lawyer says. So, I mean, anyway, Mickey just busted out in song 2. Do you remember? All right. Okay, I will put the link into the chat, or not the chat, but the comment section below. I'm not talking about her sobbing in court. A tear down the cheek now and then is something else. Right. She has been seen, though, occasionally with the tissues and stuff, you know. I've seen like previous videos of her with tears, but that may have been like when it first happened, and you know, of course you're going to be crying when it first happens. But all right, I'll go ahead and go, and I will put the link in the comment section down below under the video. So, and catch me there. I wanted to say catch me outside. Lord, that's a throwback, right? Catch me outside. Oh, she was crying yesterday? According to an article I read yesterday, she cried on day 1, but I don't think we saw it. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, Poppy's wanting out. I got to let her out before she pees a flood in my floor or something crazy pants. So I will see you guys after lunch. Have a great lunch. Go get something to eat, and I'll see you soon. Bye.